Welcome to the Gig Geezer crew. Again, welcome to the Gig Geezer crew. I'm the president, Inwood Lane, and the guys who actually started this are my first and second vice presidents, respectively, Kenny Spears and Raymond Picard Jr. They're the ones who were responsible for the Gig Geezer crew. Now, Kenny Spears 2398, who's been a regular contributor in terms of comments on the Gig Geezer channel, as with other content creators. He's the one who put hashtag Gig Geezer crew. And then Mr. Raymond Picard, whom I highlighted in this segment of the Gig Geezer, he contributed by saying, as also seconding that motion with another hashtag Gig Geezer crew. So I'm going to run with that. Now, I am not going to go in the path of a fellow Houstonian, George Foreman, who in his bid and in his run to reclaiming a heavyweight boxing championship, used a lot of humor. For example, he said after James Buster Douglas knocked out Mike Tyson, he turned around and says, they said I'm old and I'm fat and I'm bald. Well, I'll tell you what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go out to Baskin Robbins and eat all the 32 flavors of the world, and then they're gonna have to push the entire franchise. Well, I'm old, but I'm not fat and I'm not bald. And I never really had Baskin Robbins ice cream, so I can't say that one. And then George, in his leading up to fighting Evander Holyfield, in the one time he did box him in 1991, in which he went the distance but lost in a decision. He led up to that fight, hyping it up, talking about how I'm gonna put Evander between two slices of bread and I'm gonna eat him. Then he goes around. Then he says, I'm going to be heavyweight champion of the world. And it's going to be for all the old people. And he went on to say, when I win heavyweight champion of the world, we're going to have our roasts of beef, and we're going to eat our porks and chops and our legs of lamb, and we're going to drink our Geritol and eat our cheeseburgers. Well, I could talk about roast beef, maybe not in terms of roasts of beef, but I like the cracked peppered Cajun flavored roast beef. But I don't eat pork chops, I don't eat lamb, and I sure haven't tried Geritol, and you can never put a cheeseburger in front of me. But I know George would like my brisket. In fact, here's a picture of my brisket that I made back on Labor Day. It was so good that it was a conversation breaker for a guy whom I completed a brokered opportunity in Temple, Texas. Initially, it was a little testy then, but we got to talking. I told him about some brisket that I made, and then I showed him that picture right there of that brisket, and man, the conversation changed. I became his best buddy that day. In fact, my uncle, whom I send a picture to, in fact, he's the person whom I learned by watching doing grilling brisket and all. I sent him that picture. He called me up, man, I tell you what, I wish I could transport myself right now to South Carolina, because I'd have some of that brisket. So it was the brisket and the barbecue sauce that I made from scratch right along with that. And that actually convinced my queen that I could cook, at least brisket, that is. She's still waiting for me to make an entire meal, but she can't question me about brisket. But anyway, again, welcome to the Gig Geezer crew. I'm Inwood Lane. And today is Sunday, December 10, 2023. I just completed an Instacart order that paid $24.13. In fact, right here on the inset is what I delivered. And it actually took a little longer than what I thought. Not so much as in the terms of the process of delivery, driving to the drop-off location, but it was when I checked out the order. The self-checkout register froze on me, and so I had to go to another register and re-scan everything. That was not what I wanted to do. With Instacart, you wanted, at least for me, with most orders, I'd say 90% of the orders that I try to complete, I want to get in and get out. And typically the type of order that I'm looking for is something that often is in that 15 item range that's paying from $15 to $30. Even though Instacart has dropped its rates and all, those are the orders that I still look for and I still get. So why am I talking in terms of Instacart? Well, again, it's going to be a day in which I'm handing the ball off to the fullback. I'm handing the ball off to the running back. I'm probably going to be playing in between the tackles, maybe a off tackle run, maybe a sweep, but it's going to be 3 yards in a cloud of dust. And here in the Columbia, South Carolina metropolitan area, it's been slow. It's been dirt slow across all the type of apps, be it gig food delivery apps and the last mile apps. If you ask about brokered opportunities, which what I've shared in past segments is more like my first option, the load boards, they really haven't been much to talk about, especially in the last week. I would say overall, for those who operate sprinter/cargo vans, you may agree with me, you may not. Despite the fact that I showed that I earned that this business generated $10,350 last month, since the beginning of November, it's been very challenging to ascertain opportunities to make money. And I'm no different. And I've shared that from time to time about how it's created sleepless nights and the big sighs of relief that I've experienced whenever I've been able to connect on the right opportunities. So far in December, it's been a different story. The money, I'm getting there, but it's not at the same volume and pace. It's not at all. In fact, as of yesterday, December 9, 2023, this business has earned $2,432 thus far this month, and that's on 8 days in which I've been out and worked. I consider that more like F-150 earnings, because half of those 8 days have been days in which the business earnings, the revenue generated has been in the $200 days. That's F-150 type money. In this segment of the Gig Geezer, it was more of a van day. I ended up at just a tick over $400 earned. That was this past Friday. But that's really been one of my best days thus far this month. That's just the way it's been. It's nothing to write home about. It's nothing to boast and brag about. How I've been able to do it, I don't have an answer some days. Some people may think I got a size 15 or size 25 horseshoe parked in my what I'm sitting on, this pillow that I'm sitting on right now. They think that horseshoe is probably planted somewhere else on me. But the fact of the matter is, I'm probably pacing at about an $8,000 month. I've not seen an $8,000 month since May, and then that month, the business generated $8,910 or so in revenue, and that's been the last. And from that point, from June until last month, this business has seen $10,000 revenue months consistently. But that's not going to be the case today. In fact, I would say that today is overtime, because I entered today at $1,876, and the reason why I'm out today is because the goal is to get the $2,000 earned for the week. The start with the Instacart starting me out at $24.85 gets me to $1,900. So I need to see another $100 to say that I've gotten to that desired milestone number. So that's where I'm at. I will be, at least so long as there's daylight, I will be documenting what I've done so far. Hopefully, as if you are interested, I don't have any merchandise or anything like that about Gig Geezer Crew, but if you want to proclaim to be a part of the Gig Geezer Crew, you can do hashtag Gig Geezer Crew, and I'll give it a thumbs up, and I'll give it a heart, and I'll probably laugh about it as well. But I have a sense of humor to go with things. I'm not always about going off on somebody because they've pushed my button with a question. I'm not always cursing somebody out. But yes, I do come across as somebody who's all about business, because hey, when I'm out here driving, as I used to say, when I'm out here driving, I'm out here to make some money. And I think that if anyone is out here driving, they're out here to make some money. It's all about how you go about doing things that determines, if you make money or not. Now, there are things that are beyond your control, and that may be my case today, though. But I've shared what my goal is. If you want to be a part of the Gig Geezer crew again, type in Gig Geezer, hashtag Gig Geezer crew, and we'll go from there. Mercifully, I have just completed another Instacart. This one was for a gazillion items, like about 40 plus items. It was offering $35.70. I took it because of the $35.70 and because it was from Public. And also the drop-off location, the delivery location is about 5 minutes from here. So that's why I took it. And you might as well throw in the fact that, hey, it is rigor mortis out here today. It is raining. And there's only so much that's going to happen. As it turned out, I found out no sooner than I documented previously on the other Instacart order, the customer increased the tip by a couple of dollars. So it paid $26.85, bringing me for the week to $1,903 and change. This one should pay this should pay pretty close to the 35, if not a little more. And that's going to get me out of deep in my territory. I like to use football analogies when I get to when I'm gunning for a certain number. So with the $1,903, I started with my back against my goal line. This should bring me out past my 20, close to my 40-yard line. Gives me much better field position to work with. Still got a lot of work to do, but at least I got a reasonable chance at getting to the 2,000 for the week. All right, I am getting close to the drop-off location for this second Instacart order. The order number one is because it was showing for $35.70. Number two, it was at a Public, and so typically with Public, you're gonna find all your items. You're not gonna have to search all over the store to get things. However, things did not go according to the way I drew it up on the chalkboard. I had to wait about 15 to 20 minutes for chicken. The customer requested fried chicken. It was not ready, and I know that if that is not a part of the items selected, that's going to affect my tip. That's one of the more unfortunate things about Instacart, in that your tip, oftentimes, if it's not a flat tip, your tip is going to be based on the amount that was actually shopped. So I am coming up on the drop-off location. In fact, I am at the drop-off location. This should bring me out of deep. This should bring me from where my back was up against the goal line to out past the 40. Now, I like to use football analogies when I am gunning for a specific number. Today being the week ending at $2,000 or more. So this should bring me out to close to about $1,940, at least $1,935. Here is the actual number. These were the items that were dropped off, and we move on to the next hopeful opportunity. All right, to get you caught up to speed, I am now I'm actually 2nd and 7 at their 34-yard line. All right, so getting you up to speed, the last Instacart paid $24, at least it's showing paying $24.64. So I think I got all that I could on that one. And while en route to dropping off the Instacart, there was a Uber Eats from Popeye, a place that I tend not to go to do pickups. But when there's one showing for $26.02, you kind of you want to go, you want to do it only because there's the possibility that it could actually pay $26.02. But there's also the possibility that it's been bounced around a few times, and you kind of hold your breath until you find out whether they're going to hand you an order or you're going to have to contact Uber and have the order canceled and get $3 consolation or cancellation money. Option B is what occurred. Somebody had picked it up, and I was like the third person to come by. Uber Eats was prompt with processing the cancellation and then the compensation for $3. But now I am heading back towards that immediate area. The location is called Waboo, but it's actually Ruby Tuesday, and it's a Grubhub for $12.15. And if I were to give an estimation on travel time from pickup to drop off, it's about 10 minutes given traffic and the lights in that area. So if this order is there and I'm able to pick it up, at least on a preliminary count, that's going to put me at about $1,979, and that much closer to 2 G's for the week, and for me to head off into the locker room. Alrighty. I am in the midst of doing a stacked opportunity, and that's going to be the end of this segment of the Gig Geezer. But it's also going to be the end of the introduction to the Gig Geezer crew. Now, I've had a good bit of time to think about what would be the characteristics of the Gig Geezer crew. Well, the only thing that I can think of is that if you're going to be a part of the Gig Geezer crew, you're out here to make some money. In fact, the slogan should be, make my money. It's an offshoot of what I used to say with early Gig Geezer segments. When I'm out here driving, I'm out here to make some money. And I think I shared how I got that saying. If just to refamiliarize everyone, I got that from a quote from a J300 level class assignment in which my instructor Bob Giles told us to go out there and talk to some real people. He wanted us to talk to actual people who are among society. Didn't matter who it was. And so for me, it was a natural to do cab drivers, since I was already out there hustling as a poor college student in Houston for a yellow cab. And so one of the guys I talked to, I asked him some questions about cab driving, and the first thing and one of the first quotes that he said was, when I'm out here driving, I'm out here to make some money. And that quote has stayed with me for the last almost 40 years now. So I think that is really I think that's going to be the most glaring characteristic of a Gig Geezer crew member. You're out here to make some money. You're out here to make your money, my money. So that said, I'm going to top $2,000 for the week, and it's going to be on a stacked opportunity. I actually was in the midst of recording some content as I was going into the store to do my 4th Instacart of the day. That order was 9 items, $20.15. But I'll show you here the final payout, and I'll show you here what the items look like. The last one is a local expediting opportunity that's a very short distance. I mean, we're talking maybe I want to say at the most a mile and a half. It's going to pay me $45.96 at a minimum, and I'll show you here the final. Well, I'm just gonna have to. Well, this was the final payout on that particular order because I don't really have a way of screenshotting the payout. And this were my final totals for the week. And with that, if you like the content that's been provided in this segment of the Gig Geezer, or any other segment of the Gig Geezer, hit that subscribe button. Give my content a thumbs up. Share my content among others, and I definitely welcome your comments in the section below. I'm Inwood Lane, and as always, may your grind and may your hustle continue.